2026 is mine. How 1 year can rewrite your life. Written and published by Vox Reads. Introduction. 2026 is not coming. 2026 is waiting. Waiting for a decision. This book begins with a simple truth. Your life does not change by accident. It changes when you choose it. Many people step into a new year with hope. They promise themselves that this time will be different. They say it quietly. They mean it sincerely. And then life stays the same. Not because they are weak, not because they lack talent, but because no one showed them how to use 1 year correctly. This book exists for one reason: to show you how a single year can rewrite your life. Not through luck, not through shortcuts, but through clear choices made daily. This is not a book about hype. It is not about overnight success. And it is not about becoming someone you are not. It is about becoming who you were meant to be. One decision at a time. In the chapters ahead, you will learn how to take ownership of a year. Not just the big moments, but the quiet ones. The ordinary days, the days no one sees. You will learn how identity shapes outcomes, how small actions compound, and why discipline is not restriction. It is freedom. This book will help you stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for confidence. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. You will learn how to move forward even when you feel unsure. Even when progress feels slow. Even when old habits try to pull you back. You will not be asked to change everything at once. You will be guided to change the right things first. This is a book about standards, about focus, about finishing what you start. It is for the person who knows there is more inside them. More discipline, more clarity, more strength. It is for the person who is tired of repeating the same year, with different dates on the calendar. As you listen, something important will happen. Your thinking will slow down. Your direction will sharpen. And your excuses will grow quieter. Not because you are pressured, but because you are finally aligned. This book will not promise an easy year. Growth never is, but it will show you how to make the year meaningful. By the end, you will not be the same person who started listening. You will think differently, act differently, and expect more from yourself. 2026 does not belong to chance. It does not belong to fear, and it does not belong to the past. It belongs to the person who decides. Fully, calmly, and without apology. If you are ready to stop drifting, if you are ready to lead your own life, then this book is for you. Take a breath, lean in. This is the year you stop watching from the sidelines. This is the year you follow through. This is the year you say it clearly. 2026 is mine. Chapter 1. The year that changes everything. There is a moment that comes quietly. It does not announce itself. It does not ask for permission. It is the moment when you realize that if nothing changes, nothing will change. Most years pass without leaving a mark. The calendar turns. Days move forward, and life repeats familiar patterns. But once in a while, a year arrives with potential. Not because the year is special, but because the person entering it is ready. This chapter is about that kind of year. The year that changes everything is not louder than the others. It does not come with perfect timing. It does not wait for you to feel ready. It begins the instant you stop drifting and start choosing. Many people believe transformation requires dramatic events, a breakthrough moment, a crisis, a sudden opportunity. In reality, life usually changes in a quieter way. A decision made in private. A standard raised when no one is watching. A promise kept on an ordinary day. Think about people whose lives truly shifted. The entrepreneur who finally took control of their time. The parent who rebuilt trust with their family. The individual who reclaimed their health. After years of neglect. Their turning point was not magic. It was commitment. They stopped waiting for life to improve. They decided to lead it. The year that changes everything always begins with ownership. Ownership is not blame, it is power. When you accept responsibility for your direction, something important happens. You stop asking why life is unfair. You start asking what you can do next. That question changes everything. 1 year is enough time to rewrite habits. Enough time to rebuild confidence. Enough time to become unrecognizable to your former self. But only if the year is used intentionally. Most people live on default settings. They wake up. They react. They repeat. They let moods decide actions. They let circumstances shape choices. And they let comfort steal their future. The year that changes everything breaks this cycle. It replaces reaction with intention. It replaces hope with structure. It replaces wishing with action. This does not require perfection. It requires direction. Imagine 2 people starting the same year. One waits for motivation. The other builds routines. One talks about goals. The other adjusts daily behavior. By the end of the year, their lives look very different. Not because one was more talented, but because one was more deliberate. Deliberate living is the foundation of transformation. It means deciding in advance who you will be when life tests you. It means choosing standards before emotions show up. It means building systems that support progress. A changing year is built on simple principles. Show up even when you do not feel inspired. Keep promises you make to yourself. Focus on progress, not applause. These actions feel small in the moment, but they accumulate. Like interest in a bank account. Daily effort compounds. A single workout does not change your body. A single focused work session does not change your career. A single honest conversation does not rebuild trust, but repeated actions do. The power of a year lies in repetition. This is why 1 year can rewrite your life. Not through intensity, through consistency. You may be listening to this with doubts. You may be thinking about past years that started strong and ended quietly. That does not disqualify you. It prepares you. Every failed attempt taught you something. Every setback showed you what does not work. Now you build with wisdom. The year that changes everything is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters. It is about choosing fewer priorities and honoring them daily. It is about saying no with confidence. It is about protecting focus like it is valuable. Because it is. This year will challenge you. There will be days when progress feels invisible. There will be moments when quitting feels reasonable. Those moments are not signs of failure. They are invitations to grow. Growth happens when comfort ends. When you feel resistance, it means you are near something important. Do not retreat. Refine. Adjust your approach. Strengthen your discipline. Return the next day. That is how momentum is built. The year that changes everything does not remove difficulty. It teaches you how to move through it. You will learn to measure success differently. Not by outcomes alone, but by effort, consistency, and integrity. You will begin to trust yourself again. That trust is powerful. When you trust yourself, you move faster. You decide with clarity. You stop second-guessing every step. This chapter is not asking you to believe in a perfect future. It is asking you to believe in your ability to show up. 1 year from now you will be somewhere. That is guaranteed. The question is simple. Will you arrive by chance or by choice? The year that changes everything begins now. Not when conditions improve. Not when fear disappears. It begins when you say this matters, and you act like it does. As you move forward, remember this. A year does not change your life. You do. And this is the year you do it deliberately. Chapter 2. Decide once and decide fully. Most people think they have decided. In reality, they have only considered. They sit with an idea. They talk about it. They imagine how life could be different. But deep inside, they leave a door open. A door for quitting. A door for excuses. A door for going back when things get uncomfortable. This chapter is about closing that door. Real change begins when a decision is final. A half decision creates a half result. A full decision creates momentum. When you decide once and decide fully, something powerful happens. Your mind stops negotiating. Your energy stops leaking. Your actions become clearer. Indecision is exhausting. It drains focus. It creates stress. It keeps you stuck in preparation mode. You may recognize this pattern. You decide to improve your health, but you leave room for skipping days. You decide to grow your career, but you wait for confidence first. You decide to change your habits, but you promise yourself an easy exit. These are not decisions. They are delays disguised as intention. A full decision has weight. It changes how you show up. When a decision is final, your brain looks for solutions instead of escape routes. You stop asking if you should continue. You start asking how to continue. Think about the moments in your life when you truly changed. Maybe you left a situation you could no longer tolerate. Maybe you committed to someone or something fully. Maybe you reached a point where going back was no longer an option. Those moments were not comfortable, but they were clear. Clarity is born from commitment. The year that changes everything requires fewer decisions than you think, but it requires deeper ones. Decide what kind of person you will be. Decide what behaviors are no longer acceptable. Decide what standards you will live by. Then stop revisiting the decision. When you decide fully, you remove internal conflict. You are no longer fighting yourself. You are moving in one direction. This does not mean the path becomes easy. It means the path becomes clear. There will still be resistance. There will still be fatigue. But you will not be confused. Confusion comes from undecided living. Many people wait to feel ready before deciding. That feeling rarely arrives. Readiness is not a feeling. It is a result of action. Confidence grows after commitment, not before it. This is why deciding once matters. If you decide every day whether you will stay disciplined, you will eventually choose comfort. If you decide once who you are becoming, daily choices become simpler. You no longer ask, should I show up today? You say, this is what I do. Identity replaces effort. Consider someone who decides fully to become healthy. They do not wake up daily debating whether to exercise. They act from identity. They see themselves differently, and behavior follows. This is the power of a final decision. It removes drama. It removes debate. It removes emotional bargaining. It replaces it with consistency. Deciding fully does not mean you never fail. It means failure does not change your direction. You may stumble. You may miss a day. You may feel discouraged. But you do not quit. Because quitting is no longer an option. You consider. This is what separates people who transform from people who try. Trying leaves room for stopping. Deciding fully does not. The year that changes everything is built on a few non-negotiable choices. You decide to show up even when motivation is low. You decide to do the work even when no one notices. You decide to keep going even when progress feels slow. These decisions shape your character, and character shapes outcomes. When you decide fully, you simplify your life. You reduce mental noise. You save energy. Instead of debating, you act. Instead of hesitating, you move. This creates momentum. Momentum is not speed. It is direction plus consistency. Once momentum builds, things begin to feel easier. Not because the work changes, but because resistance decreases. Your mind stops fighting your goals. It starts supporting them. This is why many people say transformation feels hard at first and easier later. The difficulty was not the action. It was the decision. Once the decision is settled, the action becomes routine. As you move through this year, you will face moments that test your commitment. Moments when quitting feels logical. Moments when slowing down feels justified. In those moments, remember this: you already decided. You do not renegotiate with temporary emotions. You do not revise long-term goals because of short-term discomfort. You trust the decision you made when you were clear. Decide once, decide fully, and let your actions catch up. This chapter is not asking you to decide everything today. It is asking you to decide what matters most. Choose your direction. Choose your standards. Choose your identity. Then move forward without apology. Because the life you want does not respond to hesitation. It responds to commitment. And this is the year you commit fully. Chapter 3. Leave the old story behind. Every person lives inside a story. It is not written on paper. It is written in thought. It is repeated in quiet moments, and it shapes how you see yourself. This story explains who you think you are, what you believe you deserve, and what you think is possible. Most people never question it. They say things like, "This is just how I am. This always happens to me. I have never been good at that." Over time, these sentences harden. They become identity. They become limits. This chapter is about releasing that story, not denying the past, not pretending nothing happened, but refusing to let yesterday decide tomorrow. Your old story may include failure. It may include disappointment. It may include moments you wish you could erase. Those moments shaped you, but they do not own you. The danger is not what happened. The danger is what you keep repeating. When you replay the same story, you relive the same outcomes. Different year, same patterns. A new year cannot help you if the story stays the same. Leaving the old story behind begins with awareness. Notice the language you use with yourself. Listen to how you explain your life. Pay attention to the excuses that sound reasonable. They often begin with history. I tried before. It did not work. So this time will probably be the same. That is not logic. That is memory speaking. Memory is useful, but it is not a guide for the future. Many people confuse experience with destiny. They assume what happened will keep happening. That assumption is optional. Think about someone who failed publicly. A business that collapsed. A relationship that ended painfully. A season where discipline disappeared. If they keep telling that story, they stay trapped inside it. If they release it, they reclaim power. The past can inform you, but it cannot lead you. Leaving the old story behind does not mean forgetting lessons. It means releasing identity. You are not your worst moment. You are not your longest struggle. You are not your slowest season. Those were chapters, not the whole book. The year that changes everything requires a new narrative. A narrative rooted in choice, not history. In intention, not regret. This is where many people hesitate. They fear that letting go of the old story means losing protection. After all, the old story explains failure. It lowers expectations. It softens disappointment. But it also limits growth. A protective story often becomes a prison. The moment you decide to live differently, the old story resists. It whispers caution. It reminds you of pain. It warns you not to hope too much. This resistance is normal. Change threatens familiarity. Even unhealthy familiarity. You must understand this clearly. Your mind is not trying to sabotage you. It is trying to keep you safe. But safety and growth rarely live in the same place. The old story kept you surviving. The new story will help you build. Leaving the old story behind is an act of courage. It requires honesty. You must admit where the story no longer serves you. You must acknowledge where it excuses behavior. And you must choose to stop rehearsing it. This does not happen once. It happens daily. Every time you speak differently about yourself. Every time you act against the old pattern. Every time you keep a promise you once broke. Action is how stories change. Not affirmations alone. Not motivation alone. But proof. Each small action becomes evidence. Evidence weakens the old story. Evidence builds the new one. At first, the new story feels unfamiliar. Steer may feel uncomfortable. Even false. That is because you have not lived it yet. Identity always lags behind behavior. But it catches up as you continue. Something shifts. You stop introducing yourself with limitations. You stop explaining why things might fail. You stop expecting the same ending. This is when momentum builds quietly. The people around you may not notice immediately, but you will. You will respond differently to setbacks. You will recover faster. You will take responsibility without shame. That is growth. The year that changes everything is not about creating a perfect story. It is about creating an honest one. A story that says, I am learning. I am improving. I am not finished. This story allows mistakes without collapse. It allows effort without perfection. It allows progress without pressure. You do not need permission to leave the old story behind. You only need a decision. Decide that the past will no longer define your direction. Decide that growth matters more than comfort. Decide that this year deserves a new narrative. The moment you stop repeating the old story, space opens. Space for discipline. Space for confidence. Space for consistency. And in that space, something powerful happens. You begin to live forward, not dragged by memory, not limited by labels, but guided by choice. This chapter ends with a simple truth. You cannot build a new life while telling the same old story. Leave it behind. Chapter 4. Who you become matters more than what you want. Most people are clear about what they want. They want success. They want peace. They want freedom. They want a better life. Few people are clear about who they must become. This is where progress slows. Wanting is easy. Becoming requires change. This chapter is about shifting focus away from outcomes toward identity. Because the truth is simple. What you achieve is shaped by who you are. Goals do not live in isolation. They respond to habits. They respond to standards. They respond to character. You may want a healthier body, but if you live like someone who avoids discipline, the goal stays distant. You may want financial stability, but if you think like someone who avoids responsibility, progress stalls. You may want confidence, but if you act like someone who waits for approval, confidence never arrives. Desire alone is not enough. Every result in your life is downstream from identity. This is why people often reach goals and still feel empty. They achieved something, but they did not change who they were. Lasting transformation works the other way. You become first, then you receive. Think about someone you respect deeply. It may be their calm under pressure, their consistency, their integrity, their ability to follow through. Those qualities did not appear overnight. They were built through choices, small choices, repeated often. The year that changes everything is not about chasing outcomes. It is about shaping identity. Ask yourself this question. Who would I need to become for my goals to feel natural? Not forced, not exhausting. Natural. If you want focus, become someone who protects attention. If you want strength, become someone who trains when it is inconvenient. If you want peace, become someone who responds instead of reacts. This shift removes pressure. Instead of asking, how do I get this? You ask, how would the person I want to be act today? That question simplifies decisions. Identity-driven action creates consistency. When you act from identity, motivation becomes less important. You show up because it aligns with who you are, not because you feel inspired. This is powerful. Most people rely on motivation. Motivation is unpredictable. Identity is stable. When behavior matches identity, effort decreases. Resistance fades. You stop forcing yourself. You start being yourself. This does not mean the process is easy. It means it is aligned. Alignment creates momentum. There is another reason identity matters more than desire. Identity determines how you handle setbacks. If you see yourself as someone who quits, failure ends the journey. If you see yourself as someone who learns, failure becomes feedback. Same event, different identity, different outcome. The year that changes everything will include mistakes. That is guaranteed. The question is not whether you fail. It is how you interpret failure. Identity decides that. Becoming someone new does not require a dramatic reinvention. It requires honest evaluation. Look at your current habits. They reveal who you are becoming. Not who you hope to be. Not who you talk about being. Who you are becoming. This can feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is useful. It shows you where change matters. Do not judge yourself harshly. Judge patterns calmly. Patterns can be changed. This is where intentional practice begins. Choose one trait that matters. Consistency. Discipline. Focus. Patience. Then practice it daily. Not perfectly, but deliberately. Every small action becomes a vote. A vote for the person you are becoming. Over time, the votes add up. Identity is not built in a single moment. It is built quietly, daily, often unnoticed, until one day results catch up. People will call it luck. They will say it happened suddenly. You will know the truth. It was built. The danger is wanting results without respecting the process of becoming. That path leads to frustration, and shortcuts, and burnout. This chapter invites a different approach. Slow down the chase. Deepen the foundation. Ask better questions. Not what do I want this year, but who must I become this year? That answer guides everything else. As you move forward, remember this. Goals can change. Circumstances can shift. Plans can adjust. But character stays. Build that first. When you become disciplined, opportunities multiply. When you become focused, clarity follows. When you become consistent, confidence grows. You stop needing constant reassurance. You trust yourself. That trust is priceless. The year that changes everything is not about collecting achievements. It is about building a person who can sustain them. Become that person. And what you want will no longer feel out of reach. It will feel inevitable. Chapter 5. Build the daily standards that shape your life. Every life is shaped by standards, not intentions, not goals, standards. A standard is what you accept as normal. It is how you behave when no one is watching. It is what you allow to continue. Most people do not choose their standards. They inherit them from habit, from environment, from comfort. This chapter is about taking that control back. Standards quietly shape outcomes. They decide how you spend time, how you speak to yourself, and how you respond under pressure. If your standards are low, effort feels optional. If your standards are clear, action becomes automatic. This is why two people with the same goals get very different results. One has standards, the other has wishes. Daily standards remove negotiation. When standards are in place, you do not debate whether to show up. You show up because that is who you are. Think about areas of your life that feel stuck. Your energy, your focus, your progress. Look closely. You will find loose standards. Maybe you tolerate distraction. Maybe you excuse inconsistency. Maybe you accept less than your best effort. Standards reveal self-respect. Raising standards is not about pressure. It is about clarity. It means deciding what behavior is no longer acceptable. It means setting boundaries with yourself. This can feel uncomfortable at first, because comfort often lives below potential. But discomfort fades. Standards remain. The year that changes everything is built on a few simple rules. Rules you follow even when you do not feel like it. Not extreme rules. Clear ones. For example, you do not skip commitments you made to yourself. You do not allow distractions to control your time. You do not speak to yourself with disrespect. These are standards. They do not require motivation. They require agreement. When you agree on your standards, daily decisions become easier. You stop asking, should I do this today? You say, this is what I do. That shift saves energy. Most people waste mental energy deciding the same things every day. Whether to work, whether to train, whether to focus. Standards eliminate that waste. They turn choice into habit. But standards must be realistic. High standards that are vague lead to burnout. Clear standards that are specific lead to progress. Instead of saying, "I will be disciplined," say, "I work for 40 minutes without checking my phone." Instead of saying, "I will be healthy," say, "I move my body every morning." Specific standards guide action. They also build trust. Every time you meet your standard, you prove something to yourself. You prove that you can rely on you. That trust builds confidence. Confidence does not come from success alone. It comes from consistency. When standards slip, confidence weakens. When standards hold, confidence grows. This is why daily standards matter more than occasional intensity. A powerful year is not built on rare bursts of effort. It is built on steady behavior. Think of standards as rails. They keep you moving forward even when motivation drops. There will be days when you feel tired. Days when progress feels slow. Days when quitting feels justified. Standards carry you through those days. They say, "This is non-negotiable." Not harshly, calmly. Building standards is an act of leadership. You are leading yourself. You decide what is acceptable. You decide what is normal. This leadership creates order. Order creates focus. Focus creates results. Standards also protect your future self. They prevent impulsive choices. They reduce regret. They create alignment. When your actions match your values, life feels lighter. You are no longer divided. You are aligned. This chapter is not asking you to raise every standard at once. That would fail. It is asking you to choose a few that matter most. Start where impact is highest. Your mornings, your work blocks, your health habits, your self-talk. Choose standards that move your life forward. Then protect them. Not perfectly, but consistently. When you miss a day, return the next. Do not negotiate. Do not punish yourself. Standards are about direction, not perfection. As the year unfolds, you will notice something powerful. Your life will feel more stable. Your confidence will rise. Your results will improve. Not because you tried harder, but because you decided differently. The year that changes everything is not defined by big moments. It is defined by daily behavior. Standards create that behavior. Build them carefully, honor them daily, and let them shape the life you are becoming. Chapter 6. Small Actions, Massive Results. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, and they underestimate what they can do in a year. They wait for big breakthroughs, big changes, big moments. This chapter is about a different truth. Life changes through small actions, repeated, relentless, often unnoticed. Small actions are easy to dismiss. They do not feel impressive. They do not bring instant reward, but they shape everything. Think about how habits form, one choice at a time, one decision repeated. A single workout does not transform your body, but consistent movement does. A single focused hour does not change your career, but focused hours stacked together do. The results you admire are rarely the product of one bold move. They are the outcome of quiet consistency. This is why many people start strong and stop early. They expect big effort to create big change. When change feels slow, they assume it is not working. But slow progress is still progress. The year that changes everything is built on small actions done daily. These actions are not dramatic. They are dependable. Waking up at the same time. Starting work without delay. Choosing effort when comfort is available. These choices do not make headlines. They build character. Small actions create identity. Every time you act, you cast a vote. A vote for the person you are becoming. One vote means little. Thousands of votes create certainty. This is how transformation happens. Not through motivation. Through repetition. Consider someone learning a new skill. At first, progress feels awkward, slow, uncertain, but they keep practicing. Days pass, weeks pass. One day, what once felt difficult feels natural. Nothing magical happened. Consistency did. This is the compounding effect of small actions. Like interest growing quietly, effort multiplies over time. The danger is impatience. Impatience pushes people to quit too early. It convinces them that small actions are pointless. But impatience ignores math. Small improvements add up. 1% better each day does not feel significant. Over a year it is transformative. The year that changes everything respects this truth. Instead of chasing intensity, it builds rhythm. Instead of demanding perfection, it demands presence. You show up. You do the work. You repeat. This approach removes pressure. You do not need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to improve it slightly and stay consistent. Small actions also reduce resistance. Big goals trigger fear. Small actions feel manageable. Your mind resists massive change. It accepts small steps. This is why progress sticks when it starts small. A 5-minute action is easier to repeat than an hour-long struggle. A simple routine is easier to maintain than a complex plan. Once consistency is established, growth follows naturally. Small actions build trust with yourself. Every time you follow through, you strengthen belief. Belief fuels effort. Effort fuels results. This cycle creates momentum. Momentum does not require speed. It requires direction. When direction is clear, small steps move you forward. There will be days when you feel tempted to skip. Days when effort feels unnecessary. Those days matter most. Small actions done on hard days carry more weight. They reinforce identity. They say, I show up even when it is inconvenient. That statement is powerful. Over time, your standards rise. Your confidence grows. Your outcomes improve. All from small actions. This chapter is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters consistently. Choose actions that align with your goals. Keep them simple. Make them repeatable. Then commit to repetition. You will not feel dramatic change at first. That is normal. Trust the process. Results lag behind effort. They always do. But they arrive. The year that changes everything does not arrive with noise. It arrives quietly. One small action at a time. One steady step forward. One day stacked on the next. Do not chase massive results directly. Build them indirectly, through small actions. Done daily, and done with intention. Chapter 7. Discipline is a form of self-respect. Many people misunderstand discipline. They see it as restriction, as pressure, as something harsh. This chapter offers a different view. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect in action. When you respect yourself, you show up. You keep promises. You do what needs to be done, even when no one is watching. Lack of discipline is not a time problem. It is a relationship problem. It is the relationship you have with your future self. Every time you skip what matters, you send a message. You say, my comfort matters more than my growth. Every time you follow through, you send a different message. You say, I matter enough to do this. That message shapes identity. Discipline is not about forcing yourself endlessly. It is about choosing what you value most. Think about areas where discipline feels hard. Health, work, focus, consistency. In those areas, the issue is rarely ability. It is priority. When something truly matters, discipline feels lighter, not easy, but meaningful. This is why discipline grows stronger when purpose is clear. The year that changes everything requires a shift, from asking what you feel like doing, to honoring what you committed to doing. Emotions are temporary. Commitments last. Discipline bridges that gap. It carries you through tired mornings, distracted afternoons, unmotivated evenings. It does not shout. It does not rush. It quietly says, "This is important." People often wait to feel disciplined. That feeling rarely comes first. Discipline is built through action, not emotion. You act first. The feeling follows. This is a critical truth. If you wait until you feel ready, you stay stuck. If you act when it matters, discipline strengthens. Each time you do what you said you would do, respect grows, not from others, from yourself. Self-respect changes how you walk into rooms, how you speak, how you make decisions. It creates inner stability. When discipline is absent, life feels chaotic. You react. You rush. You regret. When discipline is present, life feels grounded. You respond. You plan. You move with intention. This does not mean becoming rigid. Healthy discipline includes flexibility, but it never includes excuses. Excuses sound reasonable, but they erode trust. One excuse becomes a habit. A habit becomes identity. This is why discipline matters daily, not in extreme ways. In small choices, starting when it is time to start, stopping when it is time to stop, finishing what you begin. These actions seem simple. They are powerful. Discipline creates boundaries. Boundaries with distraction. Boundaries with laziness. Boundaries with self-doubt. These boundaries protect your future. Think about someone you admire, their confidence, their calm, their reliability. Behind that presence is discipline, not perfection. Consistency. They do not rely on moods. They rely on standards. This chapter is not asking you to become strict overnight. It is asking you to become honest. Where have you been negotiating with yourself? Where have you lowered expectations? Where have you avoided discomfort? These answers are not meant to shame you. They are meant to guide you. Discipline begins where honesty lives. Choose one area where self-respect matters most right now. Your time, your health, your focus. Then choose one disciplined action. Small, clear, repeatable. Do it even when it feels inconvenient. Especially then. That moment is where self-respect is built. Over time, discipline becomes less effortful. It becomes identity. You no longer say, "I am trying to be disciplined." You say, "This is how I live." That shift changes everything. The year that changes everything is not driven by motivation. It is carried by discipline. Discipline keeps the promises motivation makes. And when you respect yourself enough to keep those promises, life responds differently. Opportunities expand. Confidence grows. Progress becomes steady. Discipline is not about doing more. It is about honoring what matters. Honor your time. Honor your goals. Honor yourself. Because discipline is not something you lose. It is something you practice. And every time you practice it, you prove one important truth. You are worth the effort. Chapter 8. Control your mind. Before it controls you. Your mind speaks before the world does. It comments. It judges. It predicts. Most of the time, you listen without question. This chapter is about changing that relationship. Your mind is a powerful tool, but when left unchecked, it becomes a powerful obstacle. Every action begins as a thought. Every habit starts as an idea repeated. Every limit is first imagined. If you do not guide your mind, it will guide you, and it will often choose comfort over growth. The mind prefers what is familiar, even when familiar is unhelpful. This is why people repeat patterns they say they want to change. The body follows orders. The mind gives them. You may notice this during moments of challenge. You plan to focus, and your mind suggests distraction. You plan to act, and your mind lists reasons to wait. You plan to improve, and your mind recalls past failure. These thoughts feel automatic. They feel convincing, but they are not commands. They are suggestions. Learning to control your mind begins with recognizing this difference. Thoughts are not facts. They are signals. Some are useful. Some are outdated. Some are protective responses that no longer serve you. The year that changes everything requires mental leadership. You must decide which thoughts deserve attention, and which ones do not. This does not mean suppressing thoughts. It means evaluating them. Ask simple questions. Is this thought helping me move forward? Is it based on truth or fear? Is it guiding action or avoidance? These questions slow the mind. They create space. In that space, choice appears. Many people live on mental autopilot. They react to every thought. They believe every feeling. This creates emotional fatigue. When your mind runs unchecked, it creates urgency where none exists. It magnifies risk. It minimizes ability. Controlling your mind restores balance. It teaches you to respond instead of react. Consider stress. Stress often comes from imagined futures, scenarios that have not happened, outcomes that may never occur. The mind rehearses these possibilities repeatedly. The body responds as if they are real. This drains energy. When you learn to guide your mind back to the present, stress decreases, focus returns. The mind becomes quieter, not silent, but cooperative. This is a skill, not a talent. It is built through practice. One effective practice is awareness. Notice when your inner voice becomes harsh. Notice when it predicts failure. Notice when it exaggerates difficulty. Do not argue with the thought. Name it. This is fear. This is doubt. This is resistance. Naming creates distance. Distance creates control. Another practice is redirection. When a thought pulls you away from action, redirect it gently. I feel uncertain, and I will act anyway. This feels uncomfortable, and it matters. I am capable of learning this. These statements are not motivational slogans. They are instructions. They guide behavior. Over time, the mind learns new patterns. Just like habits form through repetition, mental habits do too. The thoughts you repeat become default. The defaults shape your behavior. This is why control matters. Uncontrolled thinking leads to hesitation. Controlled thinking leads to clarity. Clarity simplifies decisions. You stop overthinking. You stop second-guessing. You move. This does not mean ignoring emotions. Emotions carry information, but they should not dictate direction. Feelings change. Values remain. When the mind aligns with values, decisions feel steadier. The year that changes everything will test your thinking. There will be moments of doubt, moments of comparison, moments of fatigue. In those moments your inner dialogue matters most. If your mind says, "This is too much," you pause. If it says, "You always fail," you challenge it. If it says, "You can start tomorrow," you act today. Small moments of mental control create momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence quiets noise. This is the cycle. Control does not mean perfection. It means direction. You will still have negative thoughts. That is human. But you will not be led by them. You will notice them, evaluate them, and choose your response. This chapter is about reclaiming authority. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. That distinction changes everything. When you lead your mind, effort becomes focused. Energy is conserved. Progress accelerates. The year that changes everything is not just about action. It is about mental discipline. Guide your thinking. Protect your attention. Choose your internal language carefully. Because the voice you listen to most is your own. Make sure it leads you forward. Chapter 9. Learn to win the hard days. Hard days are unavoidable. They arrive without warning. They test resolve. They expose habits. This chapter is about those days. Not the exciting ones. Not the days when motivation is high, but the days when effort feels heavy. Hard days are where change is decided. Most people measure progress by good days. That is a mistake. Good days are easy to win. Hard days determine who you become. A hard day does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it is quiet fatigue. Sometimes it is boredom. Sometimes it is doubt. You wake up tired. The work feels slow. The results feel distant. This is where many people stop. They tell themselves it is reasonable. They say they will continue tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes a pattern. Winning the hard days breaks that pattern. Winning does not mean doing everything perfectly. It means doing something meaningful. On hard days, lower the bar. But do not remove it. Progress on hard days looks different. It might mean working for 20 minutes instead of an hour. It might mean showing up without intensity. It might mean choosing consistency over excellence. That still counts. In fact, it counts more. Hard days train resilience. They teach you how to act without emotional support. They strengthen discipline. They build trust. Every time you show up on a hard day, you send a message. You say, "I do not disappear when it gets difficult." That message becomes identity. Most people quit because they expect effort to feel good. Effort often feels neutral. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort is not a warning. It is a signal. It means you are stretching beyond old limits. The year that changes everything will include resistance. That is not a flaw. It is a requirement. Without resistance, growth would be accidental. With resistance, growth is earned. Hard days reveal your systems. If you rely on motivation, hard days win. If you rely on standards, you do not. This is why routines matter. When a routine is in place, you do not need to decide. You follow the structure. Structure carries you when energy is low. Winning hard days also requires perspective. A single bad day does not ruin progress. A single skipped habit does not erase growth, but quitting does. The danger is not in perfection. It is abandonment. On hard days, the goal is simple. Do not quit. You may adjust. You may slow down. But you stay in motion. Motion preserves momentum. There is another truth about hard days. They do not last forever. Emotions change. Energy returns. Clarity comes back. But the identity you build during hard days stays. People who transform learn this early. They stop asking, "How do I feel today?" and start asking, "What does this day require?" That question shifts focus. It removes emotion from decision-making. It brings responsibility back. Hard days also teach patience. They remind you that progress is not linear. Some days move fast. Some days move slow. Both matter. If you only show up when progress is visible, growth stays fragile. If you show up when progress is invisible, growth becomes solid. This is how confidence is built. Not through praise, through proof. Proof that you can be trusted. Winning the hard days does not make you extreme. It makes you reliable. Reliability creates freedom. When you trust yourself, you stop negotiating. You stop making excuses. You move forward with calm determination. This chapter is not asking you to love hard days. It is asking you to respect them. They are teachers. They teach endurance. They teach humility. They teach commitment. Each hard day you win makes the next one easier. Not because it disappears, but because you are stronger. The year that changes everything is not built on perfect weeks. It is built on imperfect days, handled well. So when the next hard day arrives, remember this: you do not need to do everything. You need to do something. Show up. Keep the habit alive. Protect the streak. Win the day quietly. Because one hard day handled well can change how you handle the rest of the year. And the person who learns to win the hard days always wins in the end. Chapter 10. Environment shapes behavior. Your environment is always speaking to you, even when you are not listening. It influences how you think, how you feel, and how you act. This chapter is about understanding that influence and learning how to use it instead of fighting it. Many people blame themselves for lack of progress. They say they lack discipline. They say they lack focus. They say they lack willpower. Often, that is not the real problem. The real problem is the environment. Environment is not just where you live. It is what surrounds you daily. Your physical space. Your digital space. The people you spend time with, the information you consume, these elements shape behavior quietly, constantly, powerfully. You do not rise to your intentions. You fall to your environment. If your environment supports distraction, focus becomes difficult. If it supports comfort, effort becomes rare. If it supports growth, progress feels natural. This is why change feels easier in some places and harder in others. Think about how your behavior shifts based on where you are. In a quiet space, focus improves. In a cluttered space, attention scatters. Around disciplined people, effort increases. Around complacency, standards drop. This is not weakness. It is human nature. The year that changes everything does not rely on constant self-control. It designs surroundings that reduce friction. This is a smarter approach. Willpower is limited. Environment is constant. If you depend on willpower alone, you burn out. If you shape your environment, progress becomes sustainable. Start with your physical space. Clutter competes for attention. It signals unfinished work. It creates mental noise. Order creates calm. Calm supports focus. You do not need perfection. You need intention. A clean workspace invites effort. A prepared environment invites action. Next, consider your digital environment. Notifications are interruptions. Endless content drains focus. Constant input leaves little space for thinking. If your phone controls your attention, your goals will struggle. This does not require extreme measures. It requires boundaries. Turn off what does not matter. Limit what distracts you. Protect blocks of uninterrupted time. Attention is a resource. Treat it like one. Now consider the people around you. People influence standards, not through pressure, through example. If the people you spend time with normalize excuses, excuses grow. If they normalize discipline, discipline spreads. You do not need to cut everyone out. But you must be aware. Awareness creates choice. Seek environments where growth is normal, where effort is respected, where progress is expected. Even limited exposure matters. A single conversation can raise standards. A single role model can shift perspective. Environment also includes what you feed your mind, what you read, what you listen to, what you watch. These inputs shape belief. If you consume content that reinforces fear, hesitation grows. If you consume content that reinforces possibility, action increases. Choose inputs that support your direction. Not constantly, intentionally. The goal is not isolation. It is alignment. Aligned environments reduce resistance. Instead of fighting distractions, you remove them. Instead of forcing discipline, you support it. This saves energy. Energy can then be directed toward growth. Many people try to change behavior first. That is the hard way. Change environment first. Behavior follows. For example, if you want to read more, place the book where you can see it. If you want to exercise, prepare your clothes in advance. If you want to focus, remove competing options. Small environmental changes create big behavioral shifts. This is leverage. Leverage turns effort into results. The year that changes everything is not built on constant self-control. It is built on smart design. Design your surroundings to support the person you are becoming. Ask simple questions. Does this environment support focus? Does it encourage consistency? Does it make the right action easier? If the answer is no, adjust. You are not changing who you are. You are changing what influences you. That distinction matters. An environment supports growth. Progress feels lighter. Not effortless, but aligned. This chapter invites responsibility, without blame. If progress feels hard, look around before you look inward. Often the solution is closer than you think. Change the room, change the input, change the influence, and behavior will change with it. The year that changes everything is not built by force, it is built by design. Design wisely. Chapter 11. Stop waiting for confidence. Confidence is often misunderstood. Many people believe confidence is a feeling that arrives first. They think it shows up before action. They wait for it as a signal to begin. That wait can last a lifetime. This chapter is about ending that wait. Confidence is not the cause of action. It is the result of action. If you wait to feel confident before you move, you stay still. If you move while uncertain, confidence follows. This is one of the most important shifts you can make. Confidence is built through evidence. Evidence comes from doing, not from thinking, not from planning, not from imagining success, from showing up. Look at any area where you feel confident today. You were not born that way. You practiced. You tried. You failed. You adjusted. Confidence grew quietly. Now think about areas where confidence feels low. It is often where action has been delayed. Waiting for confidence feels safe. It feels responsible, but it hides fear. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of getting it wrong. These fears sound logical, but they keep you small. The year that changes everything requires a different approach. You act before confidence arrives. This does not mean ignoring fear. It means moving with it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in its presence. When you take action without confidence, you send a message to yourself. You say, "I can move even when I am unsure." That message matters. Each action becomes proof. Proof replaces doubt. Doubt fades. Confidence grows. Most people reverse this process. They want confidence first, then action. That order rarely works. Think of confidence like a muscle. It strengthens with use. It weakens with avoidance. Avoidance feels comfortable, but it teaches hesitation. Action feels uncomfortable at first, but it teaches capability. The choice is clear. The year that changes everything will ask you to step into unfamiliar territory. New habits, new standards, new expectations. If you wait to feel ready, you will delay growth. Readiness is earned, not granted. You earn it by starting. There is another truth about confidence. It is specific. You may feel confident in one area and uncertain in another. That is normal. Confidence does not transfer automatically. It is built where action occurs. This is why starting small matters. Small actions create manageable risk. Manageable risk builds confidence. You do not need to leap. You need to step. A single step creates momentum. Momentum reduces fear. This is how progress becomes sustainable. Waiting for confidence also creates a harmful pattern. It trains you to trust feelings over values. Feelings fluctuate. Values remain. If your values matter, you act even when confidence is low. This builds integrity. Integrity strengthens self-trust. Self-trust fuels confidence. This is the correct order. Act, build trust, gain confidence, not the other way around. You may still hear an inner voice that says, "You are not ready. You need more preparation. Wait a little longer." Sometimes preparation is useful. Often it is procrastination in disguise. Ask yourself one honest question. Is waiting helping me grow? Or is it protecting me from discomfort? The answer guides action. The year that changes everything does not eliminate uncertainty. It teaches you how to move through it. Uncertainty does not mean you are incapable. It means you are learning. Learning requires exposure. Exposure requires action. This chapter invites you to reframe fear. Fear is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are at the edge of growth. Instead of retreating, step forward carefully. Confidence will not rush in. It will follow slowly. But it will follow. Each time you take action, confidence gains ground. Each time you hesitate, doubt gains ground. Choose wisely. This does not mean forcing reckless behavior. It means choosing intentional action. Prepare enough, then begin. Refine as you go. Progress favors movement. As the year unfolds, There will be moments when confidence wavers. That does not mean you are failing. It means you are stretching. Stretching is uncomfortable, but it expands capacity. The people you admire did not wait for confidence. They built it. They acted while unsure. They learned while moving. They grew while imperfect. You can do the same. This chapter ends with a simple instruction. Stop asking if you feel confident. Start asking if the action aligns with your values. If it does, move. Confidence will meet you on the path. Not before you start, but because you did. And once you learn this, hesitation loses its power. You stop waiting. You start leading. That is how momentum is built. That is how confidence becomes real. And that is how this year continues to change everything. Chapter 12. Focus is your greatest asset. Focus is not a personality trait, it is a skill. And like any skill, it can be trained or neglected. This chapter is about protecting that skill. In a world full of noise, focus is rare, and what is rare becomes valuable. Your attention decides your direction. What you focus on grows, what you ignore fades. Many people feel busy but unproductive. They work all day and feel drained. Yet progress feels slow. The issue is not effort. It is scattered attention. Focus turns effort into results. Without focus, energy leaks. With focus, energy compounds. This is why focus is your greatest asset. Every meaningful outcome in your life requires sustained attention. Skill development, career growth, health improvement, relationships. None of these thrive on distraction. Distraction feels harmless. A few minutes here, a quick check there. But distraction fragments. Thinking, fragmented thinking, weakens results. The year that changes everything demands a shift, from reacting to directing, from consuming to creating. This does not require isolation. It requires intention. Focus begins with clarity. If you are unclear about what matters, focus is impossible. You will chase everything and finish little. Choose fewer priorities. Depth beats breadth. One focused hour is worth more than 5 distracted ones. This truth is uncomfortable because it challenges busyness. Busyness feels productive. Focus is productive. Busyness is movement without direction. Focus is movement with purpose. To protect focus, you must reduce decision fatigue. Every small decision drains energy. What to work on, when to check messages, what to respond to. Set rules. Decide in advance when you work deeply. Decide when you disconnect. Decide what deserves immediate attention. Rules protect focus. When rules are clear, you do not debate. You act. Focus also requires boundaries. Boundaries with people. Boundaries with devices. Boundaries with your own impulses. Boundaries are not selfish. They are strategic. They protect your ability to deliver your best work. This chapter is not asking you to eliminate distraction completely. That is unrealistic. It is asking you to control exposure. Check messages on your terms. Consume content with intention. Limit inputs that do not serve your goals. Attention is limited. Spend it wisely. There is another reason focus matters. Focus creates depth. Depth creates mastery. Mastery creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. This chain begins with attention. If you want better results, start by guarding focus. Focus also calms the mind. When attention is scattered, anxiety increases. When attention is directed, calm returns. This is why focused work feels satisfying. It quiets mental noise. You are fully present. Presence improves quality. Quality improves results. This chapter invites you to simplify. Do fewer things. Do them well. Do them consistently. This approach reduces stress and increases progress. The year that changes everything is not built on constant multitasking. It is built on deliberate focus. Choose where your attention goes. Protect it. Train it. When focus becomes a habit, Productivity feels natural. You no longer rush. You no longer scatter energy. You move with intention. As the year continues, distractions will compete for attention. They always do. The difference is awareness. You now recognize the cost of distraction and the value of focus. This awareness changes behavior. Each time you choose focus, you strengthen it. Each time you protect attention, you invest in your future. This chapter ends with a reminder. You do not need more time. You need more focus. Focus turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Guard it carefully, because what you focus on is what your life becomes. Chapter 13. Finish what you start. Starting is exciting. Finishing is rare. This chapter is about the difference. Most people begin with energy. They feel inspired. They feel hopeful. They feel ready. Then resistance appears. The excitement fades. Progress slows. Discomfort shows up. This is where many projects end. Not because they were impossible, but because they became ordinary. Finishing what you start is not about talent. It is about endurance. Endurance is what carries you past novelty. The early stage of any goal is fueled by emotion. The middle is fueled by discipline. The end is fueled by identity. If you only rely on emotion, you quit early. If you build discipline, you keep going. If you finish, you change how you see yourself. Unfinished goals create quiet damage. They weaken self-trust. They create doubt. They teach hesitation. Each unfinished task whispers, "Maybe I do not follow through." Over time, that whisper becomes belief. This chapter is about breaking that pattern. Finishing builds confidence faster than starting something new. Every completed task becomes proof. Proof that you can be trusted. Proof that you can persist. This proof matters. Confidence is not built by ambition alone. It is built by completion. Many people avoid finishing because the middle feels uncomfortable. The middle is repetitive. It is less rewarding. It exposes flaws. There is no applause in the middle. Only effort. This is why finishing is rare. The middle demands patience. Patience is not passive. It is active commitment. It means continuing without constant reward. The year that changes everything requires this skill. You will start many things this year. Habits, projects, commitments. But the real progress will come from what you finish. Finishing does not mean perfection. It means completion. Completion creates closure. Closure creates clarity. Clarity creates momentum. When you finish one thing, starting the next becomes easier. This is the compound effect of completion. One finished task strengthens the next. Another reason people do not finish is fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of final results. As long as something is unfinished, it cannot be evaluated. This feels safe, but it is limiting. Growth requires exposure. When you finish, you expose your work. You allow feedback. You allow learning. Learning only happens at the end. This chapter invites courage. The courage to complete. The courage to be seen. The courage to accept imperfect outcomes. Imperfect completion is more powerful than perfect intention. Always. There is also a practical reason finishing matters. Unfinished tasks create mental clutter. They consume attention. They drain energy. Each open loop competes for focus. When you finish, your mind clears. Energy returns. Focus sharpens. This creates space for better work. Finishing is a form of respect. Respect for your time. Respect for your effort. Respect for your goals. It tells your mind that your work matters. This does not mean finishing everything at once. It means choosing intentionally. Choose fewer projects. Then commit to completing them. Completion requires structure. Break goals into clear steps. Define what finished looks like. Set a realistic endpoint. Ambiguity delays completion. Clarity accelerates it. When the end is clear, persistence improves. Another key is momentum. Do not wait for large blocks of time. Use small windows consistently. Small progress keeps projects alive. Alive projects get finished. This chapter is not about pressure. It is about integrity. Integrity means alignment between intention and action. When you say you will do something, and you finish it, integrity grows. Integrity builds self-respect. Self-respect fuels discipline. This cycle strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself differently, not as someone who tries, but as someone who completes. That identity changes everything. The year that changes everything is not defined by how much you begin. It is defined by what you finish. Finish the habit you started. Finish the project you delayed. Finish the commitment you made to yourself. Not perfectly, but completely. Each finish line crossed strengthens belief. Belief makes the next challenge easier. This chapter ends with a simple reminder. Starting creates possibility. Finishing creates transformation. Be the person who finishes. And watch how quickly your life begins to move forward. Chapter 14. Become unrecognizable in 1 year. Most change is invisible while it is happening. That is why many people quit too early. They look for proof in the mirror, in results, in recognition. And when they do not see it yet, they assume nothing is changing. This chapter is about understanding real transformation. Becoming unrecognizable does not mean becoming someone else. It means becoming more of who you were meant to be. Stronger in discipline, clearer in thinking, calmer under pressure. This kind of change does not arrive suddenly. It accumulates. One habit at a time. One decision at a time. One hard day handled well. From the outside, progress looks slow. From the inside, it is steady. Most people underestimate how much can change in 1 year. Not because they lack ability, but because they measure change incorrectly. They look for dramatic moments. They ignore quiet consistency. A year of focused effort changes how you think, how you respond, how you carry yourself. That is real transformation. Consider how identity shifts. At the start, discipline feels forced. Later, it feels natural. At the start, focus requires effort. Later, it feels normal. At the start, hard days feel heavy. Later, they feel manageable. Nothing magical happened. You became someone new through repetition. This is why identity matters more than speed. Speed creates temporary results. Identity creates permanent change. The year that changes everything works quietly. You wake up earlier without forcing it. You start tasks without delay. You recover faster from setbacks. These are signs of growth. Others may not notice at first. That is fine. Transformation is not for applause. It is for alignment. Over time, people will notice. They will say you seem calmer, more focused, more consistent. They will call it discipline, or luck, or talent. You will know the truth. It was built. Becoming unrecognizable requires patience. You must allow the process to work. You must stop checking for constant validation. Validation distracts from progress. Progress requires trust. Trust that daily effort compounds. Trust that standards shape behavior. Trust that consistency changes identity. This trust grows as you keep promises to yourself. Each promise kept strengthens belief. Belief fuels effort. Effort builds results. This cycle is powerful. 1 year of this cycle reshapes your life. Not just externally. Internally. You think differently. Stop negotiating with distractions. Stop explaining your goals to everyone. Stop quitting when things feel slow. You move with quiet confidence. This confidence is not loud. It is grounded. Grounded confidence comes from evidence. Evidence comes from action. This chapter is not asking you to rush change. It is asking you to stay. Stay with the process. Stay with the habits. Stay with the standards. Most people quit before identity catches up. Do not make that mistake. There will be moments when progress feels invisible. That does not mean it is absent. Roots grow before branches appear. If you keep showing up, growth is happening. Becoming unrecognizable also requires honesty. Certain conversations, certain comforts. This can feel lonely. Growth often is. But loneliness fades when purpose is clear. You are not isolating yourself. You are aligning yourself. Alignment attracts the right opportunities, the right people, the right direction. 1 year of alignment changes everything. Not because life becomes easy, but because you become capable. Capable of handling pressure. Capable of staying consistent. Capable of leading yourself. This is what it means to become unrecognizable. Not flashy success. Quiet strength. Not perfection. Reliability. Not constant motivation. Disciplined action. As this year moves forward, remember this. Transformation is not measured daily. It is measured over time. Trust the process you are building. Respect the habits you are forming. Honor the standards you have set. At the end of the year, you will look back, not at a perfect journey, but at a completed one, and you will see someone different, someone steadier, someone stronger, someone who follows through. Others may say you changed. They will be right. But the most important change will be this. You will finally trust yourself, and that trust will carry you far beyond 1 year. Because when you become unrecognizable in 1 year, you become unstoppable in the years that follow. Chapter 15. Claim the life you built. There comes a moment when effort turns into ownership. This is that moment. You are no longer preparing. You are no longer experimenting. You are standing inside the results of your choices. This chapter is about claiming what you built. Not with pride alone, but with responsibility. Many people work hard and never pause to acknowledge growth. They move from one goal to the next. They chase the next improvement. They overlook the person they became. Do not make that mistake. Before you move forward, you must look back clearly. Not to relive the past, but to recognize progress. The life you are living now did not appear by chance. It was shaped by standards, by discipline, by consistency, by choices made on ordinary days. Claiming your life means owning that truth. You earned this version of yourself, not through perfection, through persistence. This is important because ownership builds confidence, and confidence sustains growth. When you claim what you built, you stop doubting yourself. You stop minimizing effort. You stop attributing progress to luck. You know what it took: late starts, early mornings, hard days you did not skip. Some moments when quitting felt easier. You stayed. That matters. Claiming your life also means accepting responsibility for what still needs work. Growth does not end here. It never does. But now you approach the future differently. You no longer wonder if you can be consistent. You have evidence. You no longer question whether you can change. You already did. This shifts how you set goals. Goals are no longer wishes. They are extensions of identity. You do not ask, "Can I do this?" You ask, "How will I do this?" That is power. There is another part of claiming the life you built. You stop apologizing for growth. Some people will be uncomfortable with your discipline, your boundaries, your clarity. That discomfort is not your responsibility. Growth changes dynamics. Not everyone grows with you. Claiming your life means accepting that reality calmly. You do not argue. You do not explain excessively. You move forward with respect. Respect for others. And respect for yourself. This chapter is also about gratitude. Not passive gratitude. Earned gratitude. Gratitude for the effort you gave. For the lessons learned. For the strength developed. Gratitude keeps growth grounded. It prevents arrogance. It prevents burnout. When gratitude and discipline work together, progress becomes sustainable. Claiming your life also means protecting it. Protecting your time. Protecting your focus. protecting your standards. The habits that built this life must be maintained. Not with pressure, with awareness. You now know what works. You know the cost of distraction. You know the value of consistency. You know the danger of negotiation. Use that knowledge. The future will test it. There will be new challenges, new opportunities, new distractions. But you are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. This changes how setbacks feel. Setbacks no longer threaten identity. They refine it. You adjust. You learn. You continue. That is maturity. Claiming the life you built also means leading by example. Not loudly. Not forcefully. Quietly. People notice consistency. They notice calm confidence. They notice follow-through. You become proof. Not that life is easy, but that growth is possible. This influence matters. Even if you never speak about it. Even if no one asks. Your actions communicate. As this chapter closes, pause for a moment. Consider who you were at the beginning of this journey. Consider who you are now. Notice the differences. Not just in results. In behavior. In thinking. In standards. That is the real achievement. The year may be ending, but the work is not over. And that is good, because now you are no longer chasing change. You are living it. Claim this life with humility. Claim it with confidence. Claim it with responsibility. You built it. Day by day. Choice by choice. When it was easy. And when it was not. And because you built it once, you can build again. Better. Stronger. Wiser. This is not the end of the journey. It is the foundation. Stand on it. Move forward. And remember this final truth. You do not wait for the future anymore. You shape it. Because you claimed the life you built. Conclusion. This is only the beginning. You have reached the end of this book, but you have not reached the end of your journey. If there is one truth to carry forward, it is this. Change is not a moment. It is a pattern. You have learned how 1 year can rewrite a life. Not through luck. Not through pressure. But through intentional choices made daily. You learned that decisions create direction. That identity shapes outcomes. That standards guide behavior. You learned that small actions compound. That discipline is self-respect. That focus is power. You learned how to win hard days. How environment influences behavior. How confidence follows action. You learned the value of finishing. And the power of becoming someone new through consistency. None of this was theoretical. It was practical, repeatable, human. The most important lesson is not what you accomplished. It is who you became while doing it. You are no longer the person who waits. You are no longer the person who drifts. You are no longer ruled by hesitation. You have proof now. Proof that you can decide fully. Proof that you can follow through. Proof that you can change your direction. That proof matters more than motivation ever will. There will be future years. Some will be easier. Some will be harder. But you will never enter them the same way again. You now understand how progress is built. You know how to regain control when things slip. You know how to return to discipline without drama. That knowledge stays with you. Do not aim to repeat a perfect year. Aim to repeat the principles. Standards, consistency, focus, integrity. When you live by these, progress continues naturally. There will be moments when you feel tired. Moments when old habits try to return. Moments when growth feels slow. When that happens, do not panic. Return to what you know. Do the next right action. Protect your standards. Keep your word. That is enough. This book was never about changing everything at once. It was about learning how to change steadily. You now carry that skill. As you move forward, remember this: you are not chasing a better life. You are building it. Day by day, choice by choice. And no matter what the calendar says, this truth remains. The year does not define you. You define the year, and once you learn how to do that, every year becomes yours.